Hello and welcome to a brand new episode of the Nerdpocalypse Podcast. I'm your host, Jay. I'm here with my co-host, Micah.
Hello.
All right, guys, we're back. Look, I was going to start this episode off by just throwing the intro to Micah to have him introduce it because I was just too angry to start the show. But I'm going to allow him to get out his review of a movie first before I discuss why there is a rip in our friendship that I don't know if we're coming back next week, guys. I honestly don't know. Micah, you saw Beckett?
Yeah, I saw Beckett. Don't watch it.
That's your review.
It's bad, yo. It's real bad.
I don't think anyone liked this movie.
I'm looking. You do a search on Beckett film, and you'll see headlines of like, Beckett is a perfectly average, thriller or whatever, right? No, it's not. It's not perfectly average. It is well below average. It is not good. It tries to be a movie, like it's shot like it looks like a film from the 70s, and I think that's on purpose, right?
Sure.
That's the style, right? And it's like John David Washington is this guy and he's on the run, right? Like, but no, this is a bad movie. So here's the plot of this movie. I don't care about spoiling this movie because you're not going to watch. You better not watch it. I don't care if it's number one on Netflix or whatever. Don't watch it. And I think a lot of people are like giving it a pass because it's like on Netflix, so you didn't have to technically.
No.
Nah, yo, a bad movie is a bad movie, and this is a bad movie. John David Washington and Alicia Vikander are a couple, I guess, who are in Greece on vacation. The two of them don't feel like a couple to me. Like they don't look like they're a couple. And look, they are kind of having a slight rift in their relationship, and this Greece trip is like to patch things up. So maybe that was part of it, right? Maybe the lack of chemistry between the two is a point in the movie, right?
Right.
It failed on me. No, it doesn't. They don't look like they're happy to be together. Or they don't look like they have any chemistry. Which is a good thing because Alicia Vikander dies like 10 minutes into the movie and does not come back. She's dead. So
sounds like and better for it.
and much better for it. I don't know why they hired this Alicia Vikander. I mean, she's not a household name, but you know who she is.
Right.
Like you listening know who she is.
That's the Tomb Raider, yo. Come on now.
Right. Like that's Lara Croft, guys. So she dies, right? Here's how she dies. He's John David Washington is driving on a mountainside road with no guardrail at night, and he falls asleep at the wheel. And he falls, the car skids off the mountain or whatever, ends up on the ground, upside down, bashes into a house. And in his daze, he sees a woman and a child in this house that looks like it would be otherwise abandoned. He gets out. He ends up going to the hospital and goes to the police to make a statement, right?
She dies immediately, I assume, in the car.
She dies immediately. She's gone. I don't know why. Like, what was even the point?
Right. You could have had any actress.
You could have had him there by his damn self. It wouldn't have mattered. Like, that's how little her role was. And he goes to the cops. And the cops are like, yeah, she's dead. I don't really know what to tell you, bruh. So John David Washington goes out. He gets discharged. He goes back to the crash site, because his girl died there and it's his fault. So I guess he's like, oh, I gotta I don't fucking know. And
reminisce over you. For real.
Yeah. He goes there, and all of a sudden, a woman starts shooting at him out of nowhere. A woman starts shooting at him. And he's like, oh, shit. I'm running, right? And all of a sudden, the woman has a partner who comes, and the partner is the chief of police that John David Washington met. So these cops are trying to kill John David Washington. And the rest of the movie is like, well, why are these cops trying to kill John David Washington, right? Turns out that he gets thrust into the middle of a political war where there is a politician who is trying to do right by the country, but let's just call him the left-leaning politician, is trying to do right by the country, and radical Grecian terrorists from the right are doing everything to try and stop him, including kidnapping that guy's like nephew or something. Turns out the nephew was the boy that he saw. So the cops are trying to eliminate John David Washington because if he tells somebody that he saw a little kid at this hiding place, then it can blow everything up, right?
That's stupid.
And it is.
He's an American. How the hell does he know? Like, oh, I saw a little boy. Okay, so what?
He's on the run, right? He's on the run, and he meets these two chicks at one point. Like, he's on the run, like literally on the run. And like the action is kind of whack, and he ends up like stowing away on a train, gets to Athens, tries to go to the American embassy. He meets these freedom fighter chicks along the way. He just happens to meet the freedom fighter chicks on the way. And he goes to the American embassy. Turns out the American embassy's in on it or some shit.
all right.
And this kid and this dude is like, I'm gonna make it my mission to rescue this little boy. And like, what the fuck is going on, yo?
No,
what is going on?
That doesn't make
fuck this movie. This movie's whack, yo.
It's whack.
I did not appreciate this movie, man. I really did.
Oh, yeah. It didn't sound good. It's whack.
It's fucking lame, yo. It's lame.
You know what it felt like to me when I started hearing all of the because I thought the trailer looked pretty interesting, right? Like I like a thriller. I didn't get like this is a piece of shit vibes from it, but when people started saying like when you messaged me, you're like, yeah, I'm watching Beckett tonight. Don't. I was like, you got it, no problem, because we were getting ready to watch it. I started to wonder, was this made in like 2017 and it's been on the shelf, you know? And then they're like, oh, John David Washington's a star. Let's put this out and see if people will watch it. But no, this is made in like,
no, this is a 2021 movie, man.
Right. Like they filmed it in like 2019 or something. I'm like, really? Wow.
Yeah, man.
Okay.
And and this movie is an impossible white man movie, right? Like,
yeah.
It is, shout out to Rod and Karen. It's an impossible white man movie, but like, like, it's the most egregious impossible white man movie.
Not even fun.
Not fun. And like, completely unbelievable. Like, John David Washington gets shot, stabbed, slashed, and gutted multiple times in this movie, but at one point, this dude who has a bullet wound, a stab wound, and a slash wound jumps off of a parking garage onto a car. Like, he timed it, right? Because the car is escaping with the boy in the trunk, and he fucking jumps off of it, and bam. And it's just like, yo, what the fuck?
Like, that is not a thing.
That is not a thing.
If you're off by a quarter of a second, you're gonna smack your head on the trunk before dying on the pavement.
This shit is fucking whack, yo. Don't watch it. Don't fuck up your algorithms. I'm disappointed in John David Washington. I'm disappointed.
Everybody's got one or 10.
Apparently.
Like, you know, you can be a great actor. I mean, look, I didn't see it, but apparently the protege is a piece of shit too.
Oh man, no, you can look at that.
Right. But
Yeah, that
you know,
looks like
but Michael Keaton is in it, right?
right. That looks like the equivalent of a Payday Loan movie.
I mean, if that movie doesn't start with at least 5 production companies, logos, I'd be shocked. I honestly would be. All right.
You need cash now?
Are you sure?
Come do the produce.
Huh? Like, how bad you need it? Yeah, that's no. Like, that's a rush card. Like, I'm good, man. Like, I'm good. I don't need it. All right. So let me start the show. How I originally planned to start it. Look, I have known Micah since him and I were 14. I consider him my best friend. I consider him like a brother to me. I was the best man at his wedding. He was the best man at my wedding. I know everything about him. And yet, when it comes down, I trust I trust him when it comes to movies and television shows. He tells me about things I haven't seen, vice versa. You know, that's how it works. 99% of the time, we're in alignment. I love Beckett, but whatever, right? I didn't see it. I'm kidding. All of that being true, over the last number of years, I have yet to hear him speak on a show that I've been watching this week. And I know that he watched it, never mentioned it. He will tell you that he has mentioned it a ton of times and has suggested that I would really like the show. But I don't remember that. I feel like he's lying. So I started watching Succession on HBO. Micah, have you heard of this show?
I believe I put the 3rd season trailer on the docket a couple of weeks ago.
Nah, that doesn't feel correct to me.
And I was the only one that was excited for it.
Look, man, this show is fucking excellent. Like, I love it. I love it. I have watched in like 3 days. I watched, let's see, like 13 episodes. Like, I just have my work laptop and my personal laptop on my desk as I'm working, and I just have it on like the whole time, and I find myself like way more focused on it. It's excellent. Like, it really is. You described it, you know, previously, probably 3 fucking years ago. You described it as basically being about Rupert Murdoch and his kids. That's 100% correct. And like his very messy family. I am like 3/4 of the way. I think I'm on episode 8 of season 2 now. I like that this show at its core is about a dad who is such a garbage person that he has created 3 children that he has no ability to have a functional, normal relationship with them. Like, that's what the show basically is. But a bunch of like corporate palace intrigue and just knifing each other in the back, and like you root for all the kids in ways that you wouldn't think you would. Like, you want to see all of them fully realized, but they're all so fucking damaged. Like, it's kind of amazing. But you like everybody.
It's what Game of Thrones is.
It is
to fantasy people.
Yeah, it is. Like, it really is. That's absolutely right.
And I fucking love it, dude. Like, it's so incredibly entertaining. Now, you know, HBO, people have been criticizing HBO shows recently because a lot of them are rich people and their rich problems, right?
Yeah, but
like at the same time, like a lot of these people are fucking assholes. Like, this is a very well written show.
It's super well written
with characters that, while they are incredibly wealthy, you can still relate to them. Like, I can relate to Kendall.
I assume, yeah. I 100% can understand that.
Right? Like, and you know, The Undoing is another show of rich people and their rich problems, but like, that's very much a soap opera, right? Like,
yeah, you can't really relate to those characters, but you're not really kind of supposed to.
Right, you're not supposed to. The White Lotus, which is another pretty good show, is rich people and their rich problems, but seen through the lens of poor people who have to serve the rich people.
Right.
And it talks about class and different shit like that while still trying to be funny and all that stuff. But there's something about this show, dude, that it's the intrigue, it's the backstabbing, it's the humor, it's the characters that you can relate to. It's like Alan Ruck is in it, dude. Fucking Cameron is in it. Come on.
Yeah. I love him. I love Brian Cox as Logan Roy, the father.
He's such a fucking prick.
Dude, he's such an asshole, man. Like, every time you think, like, they're like, oh, my dad is looking out for me. I'm like, he's not looking out for you. He's the fucking worst. He's the fucking worst. But he's so good at it. Like, he is so good in that role. The guy who plays Kendall, I think it's Nicholas. Is that Nicholas Braun? Or no?
Jeremy Strong.
Is fantastic. Like, I think he's super good. His arc is great. Like, it really is quite good. I like just, and I don't want to give it away, but like, I like where his character starts and where his character is where I am, which is like just about the end of season 2. Cause there's a major thing that happens to him at the end of season 1. You're like, what the fuck? And that episode, or like the first episode of season 2, like the way I guess it is the finale of season 1 of how he's sort of forever changed by some events that happen is pretty dope. Like they are able to run the line of like making you super interested about like corporate intrigue of like hostile takeovers and shit like that. Like that people don't really know how those things work, but it's like what was the Steve Carell movie about the collapse? The Big Short, right? Like how The Big Short is able to take these very deep and complicated financial issues and whittle it down and show it in a narrative way that you can like really like find funny and interesting and like, and also serious and you can understand it. This show does that with like corporate takeovers and all that kind of stuff. And you get like all the language they use and like, and all that kind of stuff. But you're like super invested in these like down to the minute meetings and shit like that happens as people are trying to backstab each other. You're into it. I'm like, oh, is he gonna fucking get out of the subway to like make it? Like you're right. Yeah, you're like super into it. And like there's a thing that happens at the end of season 1 where you're like, oh shit, it's happening. Oh shit. And then something else happens. It's just fucking out of nowhere, just derails it. And you're just like, oh, and it just turns the show on its head. It's amazing how well it's written.
That was one of the things that I was talking about. I didn't know how far you were, but at the end of season 1 was what I saw. And I'm like, dude, like it just, the show is, like I said, it's my Game of Thrones. Like this is what, like, if you like,
and I like Game of Thrones, but this is more my Game of Thrones.
Yeah, this is right up this is more up my alley, man. And, just when you think like certain things are going to happen, like the rug gets pulled out from under you
a lot.
And it's like, oh, damn it. Like, cause you're rooting for certain characters.
Oh yeah.
Right?
Well, you root for all 3 kids in very different ways, right? Like you root for Kendall because Kendall he's like the heir apparent, right? You know, it's just like he clearly from the jump, you're like, this is the guy. Clearly, this is the guy who's going to replace his father. Like that, obviously, right? But then things happen and you're like, is he? I don't know. But you kind of want, because he's kind of the main character. You kind of want him to be the heir apparent. Through all of his shit, you kind of still want him to be the guy, right? Because he's the most logical choice. But is he, right? Like, there's a lot of shit with him. Then you've got Roman, who's a fucking dirtbag. Like, he's a piece of shit. He's one of the funnier characters, right? He's just a fucking dick. And he's just like a scumbag kind of playboy son, but he starts to get into the business and you watch him grow as a character. His arc is super interesting. And then you find out like more darker shit about him. And you're just like, you kind of want to see him make it. You kind of do, right? And then you've got Shiv, or Siobhan, who is this sort of outside of the business child, and she works in politics. And as things go on, you kind of root for her. Like, you want to see her fully realized. Like, it's really kind of good. It's like really good.
Like, no one is good.
No, everyone is very gray.
You know, you say, oh, well, you kind of root for Shiv, but like,
do you?
Also a piece of shit. Like,
she treats Tom like shit. And I like Tom, but also Tom is a dick. Like,
Tom isn't right. Tom treats Greg like shit. Right? Like if there's anyone who is like truly good,
it's Greg.
Maybe it's Greg. Right?
But he's becoming, he's learning the ways, and he's becoming a shark himself, right? He's like blackmailing people for bigger money. Like, I kind of love it. I'm like, go Greg, go fuck him up. But yeah, he's just like kind of a doofus, right? So like, yeah, Tom is the husband of Shiv, and so he's like he's a son-in-law, and he's like every corporate guy you've ever met who's just like saying buzzwords, and you're like, you don't really know anything, do you? Like,
yeah, he's the guy that made it off of someone else's,
right?
Like, you know,
he's marrying into power,
right? And while like I can't stand people like that, but I like Tom because he's funny, but he's a piece of shit.
Yeah, so he's a total piece of shit. He's a total piece of shit. But it's super good, man. Like, you're 100% right. Like, you truly were 100% right. I'm actually pissed at myself that I hadn't started watching this sooner, but I'm loving binging it though. Like, it's really good. And like, this third season is coming soon, right? It's like in the next couple of weeks.
Hopefully it's coming very soon. They had to skip a year because of COVID, and this is probably my wife's favorite show outside of like The Good Fight, right?
Oh wow, okay.
And she's been asking me like, when is season 3 coming? When is season 3 coming? For a year. And
I don't know.
Right. I have no clue.
Right.
But yeah, man, I can't wait for the new season. Especially given the events of what happens at the end of the second season.
Yeah, I think I can see where it's going. I think one character thinks that they're about to play another character, but I think they're about to get played. I think it's a long con, and that's what I respect about that piece of shit character. Like, because one thing is true in this show, if nothing else. Nobody fucks with Logan Roy. Like, nobody fucks with him. Everybody think they got something in on him. Like, surprise, surprise, motherfucker. Like, that guy, he's not to be toyed with. Like, he's not to be toyed with. And I love, like, that's what I like about him, right? Because everybody thinks they can box him in. And it's like, oh shit, son, he's in trouble. No.
Like, you don't get to that level of success without being a fucking asshole, right? Like, you gotta know look at all of the like really like famous, like wealthy people who we know are just assholes, right? Look at Vince McMahon. Vince McMahon, he is incredibly wealthy. He bought his father's company from him for $1 million and made it a fucking global conglomerate, right? He is a weird asshole.
Yeah. That's basically this show.
Right. It's and you respect Logan, right? You may not like him, but
you respect him.
You have to respect him.
Yeah, no, he'll force you to, right? And you're just like, you old son of a bitch. But you're like, I hope you die. Like, if the next episode you wake up, like somebody wakes up and is like, oh, where's Logan? Oh, he's dead. Like, I'd be like, that's fine. Like, good. Fuck that guy. But no, you root for him. You root for him in a weird way of you want to see just how many tricks he has up his sleeve, because he's been around so long that there's nothing new under the sun for him, right? Like, even when you surprise him, he figures out a way to worm his way out. And what they do is they don't go to that well too often, right? Because that could feel like derivative. But they're able to craft stories around it where he's like, cause like his mental faculties aren't as good as they used to be because he's getting older and he had this like stroke or whatever. So there are times that he seems very feeble. And he uses that as a way to take advantage of other people, right? He's like, I'm an old man. I don't know what's happening. And he's like, boom, got you, motherfucker. And then he comes out of nowhere. Like, it's kind of amazing. But it also has a really, like, besides the principal characters, there's a lot of like really stellar old school folks from Hollywood that pepper their way into the series without any fanfare. Like Fisher Stevens is in season 2.
Yeah.
And not in a massive role. I was just like, what? Why is the Indian guy from Short Circuit? But yeah, Fisher Stevens is there. And he was just like, he's in a couple of episodes and I assume that he'll probably be in season 3. I don't know. But he's just there. Like, he's not like, he's this major corporate guy. He just works at the company. And he's a senior guy. And so he shows up for a couple episodes. And there's a couple things like that. Like there's a couple of
Holly
like
Hunter's in it. Like,
yeah, Holly Hunter, right. Like she's actually a major role in the second season. But yeah, she's fucking awesome. She's really good. This is a much better role for her than like Batman versus Superman.
Sanaa Lathan is going to be in the season 3. I am A-okay with that.
Yeah, so I'm listening.
Look, Alexander Skarsgård, Adrian Brody, like people want to get in on this shit, man, because the show's really good.
Yeah, and you don't need to be there that long. Like, you just got to be in for a little bit, and then you just bounce. Like, get a couple good episodes in, and you're out. And by the way, that's good for Adrian Brody. Like, that dude kind of got thrown into the wilderness for a while for, I don't know what reason. He's a good actor. Except for in Predators.
He wanted to be a tough guy.
Yeah,
that's what happened. He wanted to be a tough guy.
Knock it off.
You can't have that kind of crooked nose and try to be a tough guy. Like, you just
I had it broken a lot. No, you didn't. No, you didn't.
So you got punched in the face a lot, tough guy?
Yeah. Weren't you the pianist? Knock it off. Yeah, but Succession is excellent. If you have HBO Max, please watch it. 100%. I could not recommend it enough. All right. Let's talk about Marvel's What If, episode 2. What if T'Challa became a Star-Lord? You had some issues with the first episode. You liked the Captain Carter episode, but you did.
My issues were twofold. One was the some of the animation,
right.
particularly the facial animation, didn't look right. Not that it didn't look right. It just that it took me a while to get used to it because it didn't seem natural. I think I'm used to it. And the performances, right? Some of the performances were great. Some of them were bad, and some of them were what the fuck, right?
Right.
Looking at you, Dominic Cooper.
What were you doing?
This episode improves on literally everything.
I agree. I mean, my big issue was the speed of the story in the first episode. That was my big problem with it.
Yeah,
I think this one was moving fast, but it kind of, once it caught its feet, like 5 minutes in, it was like, oh, okay, we're like, slow down.
Because it's a story that didn't need to retell
right
a whole movie.
Right.
Like that first What If story essentially retold all of the first Avenger and then got started on Captain Carter's adventure.
Right.
And this didn't have that much yet. This didn't need that long of an explanation.
Right.
It was sad.
Yeah.
It was good, but it was sad, hearing Chadwick Boseman's voice one last time. I think he turned in a fantastic performance. I think everyone turned in a fantastic performance.
Yeah, they looked like they sounded like they were having a really good time.
Yeah. I like the story of, like this African guy becomes Star-Lord and now he becomes Robin Hood, right? Like,
yeah,
like that's the big twist, right? Like they're not ravaging and pillaging. They're ravaging and,
helping
from the rich and giving to the poor.
Yeah. I liked the sort of fundamental idea of like, my name is Star-Lord, and he's like, oh shit, I know who you are, man. Like, you're super famous. Like, that was a nice play on the whole Peter Quill thing where like nobody really knows who he is. And it's fun. Like, I liked that Thanos is a part of the Ravagers. Like, I thought that was hilarious. And that T'Challa basically was like, yo, that's genocide. Yo, don't do that.
Yeah, everybody's just clowning him for his idea of like, well, I know how to extend the resources, like just kill everybody or half the people. It's like, yo, that's genocide. But it's not genocide because it's total randomness.
Yeah, it's like,
right?
nah,
like I'm not wiping out one specific species. That's genocide. My thing is just random. So
that's not my fault.
It's all good.
Yeah, I thought that was a clever, like, I didn't realize like he was going to be in this episode, so I thought that was pretty fun. Yeah, it was a fun episode. It was cool. Like, they seem to have a good understanding of trying to tell a new story. And I thought giving the collector a little bit more to do this time was kind of cool. To like make him an actual physical threat. I thought Nebula looked dope with the long hair. I thought that was kind of a fun change.
Yeah. Although I don't like the blonde. I don't like light hair and dark skin. I like dark hair and lighter skin, but not lighter skin, but like,
lighter than the color of the hair.
Lighter than the color. Yes.
Got it. Yeah. I mean, I thought it was interesting.
It was a very good episode, and I was happy with the performances. I still think that the style looks good, but the animation, takes a bit to get used to, right? Like sometimes they move like a little too like Sims like for me sometimes.
Oh, okay.
Except when it comes to action. When it comes to action,
they're fast paced as hell.
Yeah, like it looks good. But and complete stills look good, but like when you're just talking,
yeah,
like it feels a little weird to me, but that's probably just a me thing. Yeah, I'm very much looking forward to what goes on, because so some of the toys are out or are coming out, and like I knew Nebula was going to be in it.
Right.
But I didn't know Nebula was going to be in this episode. Right. So I'm curious to see what some of these other stories are going to be after seeing some of the images that I've seen online.
Yeah. I don't know. But, I have no idea what episode 3 is.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm kind of excited about that. I did like the idea of, like, because I think some of these things that are in What If may find their way into the MCU proper, right? And one of them is this material that can basically terraform worlds. I think it's kind of an interesting concept. So we'll see. Like, I'm very interested to see if anything kind of bleeds into the live action stuff. But yeah, I thought it was fun, man. Like, so far, I think these are 2 very strong episodes. I enjoyed them thoroughly. It was nice seeing Howard the Duck get a little bit more screen time. And then Ego showing up to Dairy Queen to talk to Peter Quill, which I thought was pretty cool. Yeah. So he's going to find a son either way.
Right. And without the Guardians there to kind of keep Peter Quill in check, right? Like, Peter's probably going to succumb to his father's like charms or whatever.
Of course.
Know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I don't think they'll like delve into that any further. I think that's just like a Twilight Zone-esque, like,
ending. Yeah.
Yeah. But the problem that I see myself having is that I'm going to want more of this. And,
yeah, I think a lot of people are having that problem.
Now, are you of the mind that that all of these what if stories are in the same like branch of the multiverse, or
yes,
are these different? Like, okay, so you think that like
I think this is all one world.
Yeah, main timeline. This is a branch, and then all of these what if stories are part of that one branch.
I think so. I think that Captain Carter or I think Peggy staying in the room when the experiment was going on, I think that is the moment that creates the branch off. That was at least my implication. That branches off and creates an entire new multiverse, and this is a part of it, right? This is the Star-Lord for Captain Carter's universe. It's clear that, at least from the trailer, that the rest of the Guardians, or some of the Guardians, I guess maybe led by Gamora, who's she might be the Thanos of, like, quote unquote, the Thanos of this universe. Her and some other people go down and save New York. I can't quite tell. So who knows? I'm not quite sure. So it's kind of interesting to see what this, like, if this stuff is connected. I think that there was a scene in the trailer, and you don't know because of how things are fast cut, where it looks like Doctor Strange is talking to Captain Carter. So I don't know if that's still connected to all of this. I have no idea.
Okay. All right. Yeah. What's up with Doctor Strange, man? I'm curious about his, because he kind of looks.
He looks the same. Oh, does he look
the same?
Weird?
He looks the same, but, like, I don't know. His skin looks a little pale to me. I don't know. I don't know
if that's an animation.
I'm very curious.
Well, I did see in a still of Peter Parker in the Spider-Man suit wearing the cloak, Strange's cloak. And that apparently is from the Marvel Zombies episode, where he's referred to as, like, the spider zombie hunter. So it'll be interesting to see how that works. But I think that, I don't know if it's the next episode or what episode, I think that whenever Strange shows up, that's going to be the link between all of them. That's my guess.
Yeah, I have a feeling that that's going to be, like, last or towards the end.
Yeah, I can see that.
To, like you said, to kind of link everything back to the movies, right? Like what if we get like, in the multiverse of madness, we get, like, a glimpse of Haley Atwell as Captain Carter. Like stuff like that is what I'm looking forward to also.
Hold that thought, because we have this episode, because there's not a lot of news. We have a wild MCU speculation section, and we're going to talk about that, because I think that you're maybe more right than you think you are. Like, I think it's not so much a what if, I think it's more of a when if. So, we'll talk about it. All right. So next up, let's jump down into topics. This is amazing. This is an amazing story.
Yeah. So, the death knell has been tolled for OnlyFans. Apparently OnlyFans is going to bar sexually explicit videos starting in October. Now, here's the thing. You can still, so starting in October, the company will prohibit creators from posting material with sexually explicit conduct on its website, which many sex workers use to sell fan explicit content. You will still be allowed to you will still be allowed to put up nude photos and videos, but no, like,
penetration.
No bumping uglies, no ass eating like Armand was doing to Dylan in that episode of The White Lotus.
Wow. Just gonna go ahead and keep watching Succession then.
Wow. None of that stuff beginning in October. Look, this website, OnlyFans, it made its popularity off of stuff like that, right? Like,
yeah. Like that's its whole thing.
Right. When you say OnlyFans, there's a certain thought that comes into your mind.
Mm-hmm.
And look, maybe they don't want that thought to come into your mind when you think of it, right? Like, for the longest time, I did not know that OnlyFans was not exclusively porn. Like, I didn't know it. And as much like porn as I've seen, I never went to OnlyFans because I knew it was something you had to pay for.
Right. I'm not.
Ain't nobody doing that.
No.
But I thought that it was exclusively like a porn site.
Right.
But no. So let me ask you this.
Yes.
Why am I? So I'm just going to give you money for what? What am I giving you money for?
For porn. Oh, you mean after this? After October?
Yeah. What's going on?
Okay. One, I find this to be hilarious. Okay. And the reason why I find it to be quite funny is because not like there are serious corporate implications, which we will talk about. But has there ever been in the history of making money hand over fist, has there ever been a decision so clear that it is going to fuck this business up than this? Not sure that's ever existed, right? I'm like, yeah, this is going to destroy this business. You're aware of this? Okay, great. Like, good job. Look, like on a serious note though, there are a couple things going on here, right? Okay, we're going to allow like nude photos, but you can't show people having sex. Okay. It's 2021, dude. Like, that's your whole website. Like, it is. But I'm sure that they made a calculation, right? And I think it's a poor one. I would almost guarantee that their calculation to the board was, they have backers who were like, look, we kind of don't want you to have porn on there. It's kind of making us look shady. And I'm like, shut the fuck up. We're making money. But like, they're like, oh, it's making us look super shady. We don't want to be associated with that. Okay. People at OnlyFans go back. They look up their stats and they go, we have enough people on OnlyFans that do regular stuff. Like, here are some cooking recipes. And women, let's get real. It's mostly women. Nobody wants to see a bunch of dudes. Putting up nude photos, right? So we have enough of those that if we lose all the people doing porn, hardcore pornography, we will still be fine. We will do quite well, right? I'm sure that's the calculus, right? Here's the problem. And this is why understanding your audience is really important. And it's not just about like, do they like porn or not? Like there's like actual business to this. What is going to end up happening is they made that calculus, they announced this, and all the people who do hardcore porn are like, cool, fuck you, we're out. But the problem is, and the miscalculation that they made was that we live in a time, well, actually, before I even get to that, they're also making the calculation that the pandemic is almost over. So people are going to stop doing pornography to make money and will go back to jobs. That is a huge mistake, right? The pandemic has caused people to shift their priorities in life. And people are like, I could just stay home and have sex with my spouse and put our videos up that people like to watch and make tons of money or go to some shitty corporate job. Nah, I'm just going to fuck my husband or my wife, right? And they're okay with that. And that's fine. There's no shame in that, whatever you want to do. So getting back to the huge miscalculation on OnlyFans is when they remove these people in October, what is going to likely happen, and you can already see it happening online, is it's not just losing those people. It's the backlash that comes with it. Because in 2021, people are very much in the mindset of sex work is work. And sex workers should be respected for what they do. You may not like what they're personally into or whatever, but it's still a job. A blowjob is still a job, right? So, I mean, it is. But if that is the case, if I'm right, you're not just going to see those people who do porn leave. You're going to see people leave who even did photos. They're going to go to somewhere else because they all see themselves as one entity, as all sex workers. If you out there fucking on OnlyFans for cash, but you're a woman just like putting her nudes up there, it's all seen as sex work, right? So likely what's going to happen is you've pissed off everyone who sees themselves as a sex worker, and you're going to lose them all, or the vast majority of them, to just for fans or some or Patreon or one of these other ones. So they're not going to just lose porn, like hardcore porn. They're also going to lose their bread and butter, which are hot chicks on Instagram, That's their super bread and butter. But that's what's going to fucking happen. And that's not truly knowing your audience. That my guess is if OnlyFans exists, I want to say 5 years, but if I'm being honest, if OnlyFans exists 2 years after this decision in October, I would be shocked. I'd be shocked to know that. And by exist, I mean exist and be profitable and like a big business. I doubt it.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you regarding the exodus of the softcore porn community. Not necessarily because they feel like, some solidarity with the hardcore porn community, more so, in my opinion, that the softcore porn community will look at the hardcores being exiled and say, oh, well, it's probably not much time left before they kick us off too.
Yeah, no, that's definitely a calculus as well.
Let me just go find something new, right? Let me find something new that might be a bit. And if I don't know if there are any other OnlyFans like knockoffs or whatever.
Yeah, there's like Just for Fans. Patreon is the same thing.
You can do porn on Patreon?
I don't know if you can do porn on Patreon, but I think just for Fans, you definitely can, because Just for Fans came out with a statement like OnlyFans is abandoning their their sex positive sex worker audience. So they're just like, you come on over here.
That's what I was about to say. If there's any copycat, if there are any copycat companies, this is your time, man. Like this is
I'd run ads, yo. We love porn. Fuck it.
Yeah. It could be the classiest, like, sex positive or whatever. Like get your jerk off here.
Right. And the thing is, there's nothing about the OnlyFans platform that will keep them there. Right? Like there's nothing, because, okay, you don't, from my understanding, I don't have an OnlyFans account, but like from my understanding, you subscribe to the particular person that you want to see, right? Like Hot Susie 27's got an OnlyFans. You go and you sign up to her OnlyFans page, right? You're not getting an OnlyFans account and then get to see everybody's shit. You pay for hers specifically. So if she leaves and that's the person you want to see, you're going to go where she goes, right? There's nothing about the OnlyFans platform that you give a shit about that would make you stay. That's a terrible corporate calculus on their part. You have nothing without your users, right? It's not like, hey, for $50, you can see everybody's OnlyFans. Then people would be like, well, all right, fucking Susie left, but like I got these other thousands of things.
Somebody else.
Right. No. Like, and most people, I would argue, most people are probably only joined up to like 1 or 2 OnlyFans, right? So it's not enough. It won't be enough for them to stay in the platform. There's no reason to stay there. And they secured it off in a way that makes sense when you allowed pornography and sex work. But the second you don't, there's no reason. Look, I mean, let's get real. The porn sites like Xvideos, Pornhub, RedTube, all of those, I hear you can see porn on the internet. I don't know.
Yeah, you hear it because you turn up the speakers on your computer while you're watching.
Right, turn that shit up in my headphones. Right, I get it. That's so weird. But all of those sites have videos from these people, and they're like, watch the whole video on my OnlyFans. And I'm like, I'm already done, but thanks. like it's over 15 minutes. I'm not going to see the end of it. But it's like, that's how they promote it. That's how they promote to get you there. Instagram is full of people with OnlyFans pages. Full. Every hot chick you see on Instagram, go in their profile. OnlyFans, Linktree, OnlyFans. Yeah. So what they now have done is they have alienated a massive part of their base, and they've likely pissed off or scared, to your point, which I think is a good one, the other part of their base, which is probably the biggest part of their base. So good luck.
So because OnlyFans can do, apparently it does things that are not pornography. Why don't they? Right. Like, there has to be like a way you can age gate, right? Like I'm trying to find a happy medium between the two. And is that just not even the point, right? Is it the point?
I think it's not even the point.
That there's just the stigma of OnlyFans being a pseudo porn site. Maybe that's it, right? Like,
I mean,
they want to scrub that image away from the site.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's it. Like, they're apparently in the article or an article I read, they shut down 16 accounts that featured child pornography. I'm sure that kind of spooked them, right? Yeah, like that's fair. But okay, like that's not OnlyFans' fault, right? That's the scumbag's fault. You ban those people and you report them to the police, right? Yeah. Like I'm not mad at the platform because some fucking some creep posted, by the way, if you're doing child pornography, why are you putting it on OnlyFans?
What? Yeah, like, don't they?
The fuck? Like, right, like, good. I'm glad you did, so you got caught. You know what I mean? But like what do you do? That doesn't make any sense. Right. Yeah, why would you? That's fucking stupid. But it's just, like, I really think OnlyFans is really just, they have burned their company. They are legitimately burning their company to the ground, right? Like somebody pointed out, this was like when Tumblr got bought by Warner Brothers or Yahoo or whoever they got bought by, and they were like, we're banning all porn on Tumblr, right? And they seem to have banned like most porn on Tumblr. Apparently, I just found it the other day. But when they did that, people were just like, fuck Tumblr, I'm out. And it just became a ghost town, right? Like, why am I still here? Yo, porn runs the internet. Like, it does. It is the reason why things are innovated. It's why you have HD video online. It, like, all of that shit is from pornography. Like, you can pretend like it's not, but it is.
Yeah. Why do you think phones, like the whole thing with phones was to make them smaller and smaller and smaller. And then fucking porn took off, right? Like, it became so accessible and your phones got bigger and bigger and bigger because people want to watch videos and they're not just YouTube videos.
Nah.
Like, they're not, yo.
Oh, like, shit, I can do HD? Oh, shit.
Right. So all right, man. I guess they know what they're doing.
Look. All right. Come October, we're gonna put the fucking timer up. Like, how many months before OnlyFans shutters, dude? Because it's not gonna be long, and boy, are those bankers gonna be like, they gonna feel some kind of way. Because people are gonna leave in mass. They're gonna leave in mass. Like, come check out my OnlyFans. Like, no.
Also, like let's stop with the sex work stigma, yo. Like, I get
it's ridiculous.
I get it. I understand that, like, your religion means that you have to have like boring sex or whatever, but
yeah, that's like, what you guys do. You're religious, right?
We ain't that religious. And my wife rocked my world the other night. I couldn't believe it.
The pandemic is over. God damn.
But yeah, let's stop stigmatizing that shit, man.
It's like, so silly.
It is what it is. Like, right? Like, it's not stopping. So,
it seems to be going larger and larger.
Right.
Like, get out of here. Like, it's just, to me, it makes no sense. Everybody, if they want to, has sex. Like, and there are people who like to have sex on camera. Guess what? A lot of it's pretty good. And even the bad stuff, maybe it's not for me, right? Like, everybody's got their thing that they're into. In the words of Romulus Roy, it'd be great if I could have sex with you where you didn't move like a corpse. Like, what? No, never mind. Fucking Bill Cosby shit. So yeah, like, everybody has sex. Adults have sex. And there are some adults who have sex in front of a camera. So what? I don't give a shit. Or there are some adults who are prostitutes. I don't give a shit. I don't care. Be safe. Just be safe. Like, I don't give a fuck. Who cares? Do your thing. So, yeah, the OnlyFans story is just fucking hysterical to me because they're getting ready to ruin that business. But good. Learn a lesson. Dumb fucks. All right. Next up.
So Emma Stone has decided to sign on for Cruella 2, and the all of the shenanigans that took place with Scarlett Johansson and Disney regarding the lawsuit about the distribution method has kind of emboldened Emma Stone in her negotiations, which is good. From Screen Rants, the threat of a lawsuit from Scarlett Johansson made Disney more willing to accommodate Emma Stone's demands. As many have noted online, Johansson's legal battle is less that she is dissatisfied with the streaming release and more that she was denied what she was owed. So in Stone's case, she's now taking steps to ensure that won't happen with her in Cruella Part 2. Yeah, this is what needs to happen.
Yep, I'm not mad about it.
Right. Like if this is going to be the new normal for movie distribution, then, you know, things need to change. And, you know, you gotta, I mean, it's common sense, right?
Right.
Like I'm all about, like, I didn't see this movie. I heard that a couple of dogs, like, spoiler alert, I heard that a couple of Dalmatians murdered Emma Stone's character's mother or some shit like that.
That's her. That's her story.
That's why she hates dogs. Which, you know, I respect it, but yeah, like, good on her. And Disney got the money, right?
Yeah.
So,
I look, I think it was smart of them to kind of shore this up with another actress. Look, what you don't need is two big female stars suing you. That doesn't look good.
Yeah,
that doesn't look good. Overpay, right? No. Look, like, you may think you're right or whatever. It's not worth it. It's just not.
That's right. It's not worth it.
And that's exactly. I'm sure that's what the lawyers at Disney were like. We could fight it, but, like, from a PR perspective, this is not a good idea. Right. They shouldn't have fought Scarlett on that either. Like, that was stupid. But they're already in the fight with Scarlett. You might as well just shore up Emily Stone. Now, that being said, them shoring up Emily Stone and she didn't sue them or anything like that, boy, does that do damage to their case against Scarlett Johansson. Mm-hmm. Because Scarlett Johansson is like, you paid her.
You just admitted wrongdoing.
Right. By the way, smart on Emma Stone's part, right? Using Scarlett's case to not have to get into a legal battle, but to fix her situation. But also simultaneously, like, because I know people are like, see, Emma Stone was really smart, but she did something that is actually a very positive thing. She ended up amplifying Scarlett's story, right? Like, she didn't do this and fuck Scarlett Johansson over. She gave her all the ammunition to win in court, is what she did, right? Like you said, you just admitted that you screwed up with Emma Stone. That's why you paid her out. And you're now only paying her out because we're in this court battle. So it proves that I was actually correct, right? Like, the whole idea of, like, whether Shang-Chi does well in theaters, you know, in 2 weeks, people are like, oh, that's going to fuck up Scarlett. No, it doesn't. If it does well during that 45 days, it proves she was right. Like, it proves she was right. That she got hosed out of money because it wasn't in theater.
Money. Right. That she would have made more money because it would have been in theaters, and you just admitted wrongdoing. Yeah. You admitted that you screwed up, and look, we're speaking about this without having read anybody's contract, but from all reports, right, from credible sources, like, Disney fucked up.
Yeah, they did. I think they did. And look, pay her, man. Pay her out, be done with it. Like, apparently they canceled some project they were planning on working with her. Look, here's how you do this. Just settle it out of court, give her the money, and be like, look, we fucked up. That was stupid. We shouldn't have done that. Can we work on a project together in the future? Yo, she's the biggest fucking female star in the world right now.
Yeah.
Like, what you don't want to do is alienate her to never want to do anything with you again. That's stupid. Also, by the way, if you could work it out and it not ever come out, like any of the like information, and then we'll talk about MCU speculation. It could kind of be a fun thing to do. There's one way you could fix this in a major way. You could fix it in a major way, but more on that when we get to wild speculation. All right, next up, Anthony Mackie closes a deal to star in Disney/Marvel's Captain America 4. Obviously, there was talk of this right after The Falcon and the Winter Soldier ended, or I think it was like the last episode. People were like, Captain America 4 is happening. Holy shit, Anthony Mackie. Which was pretty obvious, right? Like, it was obvious that if they were making another Cap movie, he would be the star. And it turns out that's exactly what's going to happen. Good. Mackie went on record saying, like, I'll play this character forever. Like, he's not on that. Yeah, he is not on that Chris Evans, like, oh, I'm getting a little tired of the role. Like, nah, I ain't tired. Put me in the suit again. I'll be 55 years old throwing that shield around. Get out of here. Look, it's smart money. That's like, yo, these movies make bank. Where are you going? And, you know, he could do his other movies also, in between. He's fine.
Right. I think Anthony Mackie is a good enough actor where he could do, you know, multiple movies in a year and still like be in shape or whatever. Right. Because one, he doesn't have to be in Chris Evans' Captain America shape.
Right. That was hard, I'm sure.
Right. And two, this is him leading a franchise now. He is leading a major franchise now.
Yeah.
And you know, fucking Captain America's black, yo.
Yeah. Like, come on, man. You gotta love that.
I love it, yo. I love it. And he seems to really enjoy this role. Like, I think Anthony Mackie is an okay actor, but I think he's better in certain roles.
Yeah.
And
when he's not playing that robot, that terrible ass movie they did for Netflix.
Yeah. Like, I think this is one of those roles where he shines, man.
Yeah.
And he's totally into it. And I think he gets it, right? Like, I think he gets how I think he gets the optics, right?
That is very clear. He is a very different guy after getting that shield in Endgame. Like just interviews with him. You see, he's like you can see he feels the responsibility of the role.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And it is and I feel like he brings that to the role, to the character. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's like I felt it in Falcon and the Winter Soldier, the TV series, right? Like, whereas in Captain America, the Winter Soldier film, he felt very much like a sidekick.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because that was his role. But seeing this side character evolve into becoming this mainstream hero, it just you know, and he's black dude, yo. Like,
I mean, I kind of love it, and I also kind of want to see the Latin dude be the new Falcon. Like never forget that. Like, I kind of love the idea of Cap and Falcon both can fly. Like, that's kind of dope. That's a setup for a badass action scene. Like, it is. I might have to rewatch that opening scene from the series. Though.
That's a setup for the most innovative dogfight you've ever seen.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. Like, look, man, I love Chris Evans as Cap. I think he is, you know, people love Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man, and I do too. But for me, it was Cap, right? Like that, the entire Infinity Saga, the Cap story was, to me, the best, right? That being said, I can't wait to see what they do on a movie level with this guy. Like, it should be a lot of fun. It should be a lot of fun. And the nice thing is, he doesn't like, I'm sure his idea of like, I'll play the role forever is a little bit easier than Evans, not just from like staying in shape, which is a big deal, but from the perspective of he's not going to be leading 3 solo movies, right? Like, he's going to be Cap in Avengers. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he's doing this movie, right, to establish him in his own solo adventure once, right? But they're not gonna. I doubt they're making Cap 4, 5, and 6 starring Anthony Mackie. It would be really odd if they did, frankly. Like, I think what would likely happen is that Cap shows up in other people's movies. He's a leader of the Avengers, right? Like, so he's in the Avengers movies. So he doesn't have to be on and in these movies every 2 years. Like, you know what I mean? He's got time to breathe and do other things and smaller projects. So yeah, I'm 100% behind this. I love it. Works for me. You got to fix the costume a little bit.
Tighten it up.
Got to tighten it up a little bit. You just got to tighten it up a little bit. Look, it looks good, but I feel like I forget the woman's name, and I apologize. The woman who does the costuming for Black Panther and stuff like that, just bring her in, change it up a little bit. And they're going to change it, right? Toys. Like, you got to change it every time you do a movie. You got to tweak it a little bit, right? There's some room for some, like, really great improvements. Like, I think the head thing, while it's comic accurate, doesn't really look good. It doesn't look good. It doesn't look good. I've always hated it.
Like, if you want to change one thing, you got to change it doesn't make sense either, right?
No,
like,
why is the top of his head in his mouth open? Oh, I've got this on. Why?
It doesn't make sense. Either don't wear a helmet or wear a helmet.
Right. Yeah. It's like a half-ass in between. But like, if you take that sort of half cowl off or whatever the hell it is, if you take
off that Cyclops helmet, right? Like, Cyclops had the same thing in the comics,
right? And Gambit does too. I'm like, right, what are you doing? Just take it off. But if you took that off and just gave him some sort of shades or whatever, some sort of goggles or something that maybe looked a little bit more techie, I think that could look super dope. Like, I would be like, okay. Because that's really the only thing. It's the head cowl thing. I'm just like, that doesn't look good. And it works a little bit better in the comics than it does here. But in live action, like, when he moves his neck, it's not tight. So it kind of wrinkles. And it just doesn't come off as being like this is supposed to be Wakandan fucking gear, right? Like, it's supposed to look pristine. Right. But it was on a TV budget, right? I mean,
no offense to that community. It looks like a cosplay outfit. Like, it does.
Right. It does. And look, you're right. It's not any offense because like, y'all don't have $200 million. Like, you don't. Right. Like, it's not, shitting on them. But I don't expect Anthony Mackie's costume in the movies to be of that quality. I expect it to be where motherfuckers are like, I need to achieve that, right? Like, I need to reach for the fucking stars to try to make that for my cosplay. And I expect it to look amazing in the movie. But just take the cowl thing off. It just doesn't work. Like, it's silly. Or improve it. Like, just figure out how to improve it. But they'll figure it out. Look, the first Cap costume in the first Avenger, great. Cap's costume in Avengers, terrible. He looked like
that's the only one I hate.
Yeah, he looks like a sentient penis. That's why they took that helmet off of his ass as soon as they could. As soon as they could.
It didn't. Yeah, and it was the helmet. Like, it was the whole thing for me. But
it was like way too tight. I'm like, all right.
It was very. He looked like a gymnast, right? He didn't look like a soldier. He looked like a gymnast,
right?
And the headpiece didn't work, man. It really didn't.
Yeah, it was like, oh, I lost my helmet. I was like, that's for the best. Like, that's a good idea. But yeah, and then in Winter Soldier, it looked amazing. Like, they figured out how to make like a helmet, right? Like, just made it work better. And then, by Endgame, it was fucking perfect. So, yeah, they'll figure it out. That's my only gripe. So I look forward to it, man. I look forward to seeing what they do with him in the MCU, and it's dope. Like, it's super dope. Can't wait. Next up, now we know when IronHeart, the IronHeart series star, what's her name? Dominique Thorne, who plays Riri Williams. Now we know when she will be making her MCU debut, and it turns out it's in Wakanda Forever. Because all Black people are related. I think that's cool. I have my speculation as to how. What do you think of this? Is this a good spot for her to debut?
I mean, I don't know when. So in the debut in the films, or like or debut period, right? Like she has her own television show.
Yeah, no,
So
she's going to show up in the MCU. She's going to show up in the MCU in Wakanda Forever first, before Ironheart.
Okay, it makes sense for her to debut in the movies. It, quite frankly, gives you a little bit of a leg up, right? Just like with WandaVision, and just like with the 3 live action series that we've seen already. Is she gonna be from Wakanda? Like, when I hear Wakanda Forever, I'm thinking that the whole thing is going to take place there, right? Like they would have no reason to go anywhere else. I can't imagine that. I know Wakanda opened up its borders, but I can't imagine they're just gonna let anybody in.
Right. So my speculation is that at the end of the first Black Panther movie, you see Shuri go to, where were they? Like Detroit or somewhere, I forget. And she's supposed to be there, like bringing the science and technology to these Black kids in America,
to the school that they established in Oakland or whatever.
That's where I think she's going to be. I think she's going to be like top prize student. They're like, yo, you're a fucking genius. And she's like, yeah, it turns out I am. And that's where you're going to meet her. My guess is she's not going to be in it long. It's going to be enough to be like, hey, who are you? It's like, oh, my name's Riri Williams. And it's like, oh shit. And then everyone's like, oh, there she is. And I think that's it. And then you might see like an after credit scene of her working on her suit. And it like, it like kind of pans out and it looks like the fucking Iron Man suit and she fucking turns it on. That's my guess. So.
All right. That'll work.
Like,
apparently Riri Williams is from Chicago.
Yeah, but like they start schools everywhere, whatever. Yeah. She gets to go. Well, however, my guess is,
and then she goes to MIT.
MIT, right? But my guess is that's how they do it. Is that her connection to Wakanda is, without them, she wouldn't have been inspired. Like she was given shared all this knowledge and stuff like that, and she was like, she just took it on to the next level, which is kind of dope. Making Shuri and T'Challa sort of like the Tony Stark of, like birthing this new hero, which is kind of dope.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Look, I'm about it. I am very curious to see what Wakanda Forever is going to be about.
I mean, there's speculation that one dude is this one guy, this Latin gentleman is Namor. Hasn't been confirmed, but that's what people think.
Production for that movie is taking place in Atlanta and around Massachusetts. So, leading credence to your theory that Shuri comes in at the end. Like, let's see what these American schools are like, right? Let's see what these genius American schools are. And then there's Riri Williams just fucking building an Iron Man suit.
Yeah, I'm super interested to see what design they go with, because like her first suit looks a lot like it's very similar to Tony Stark's Iron Man suit, and then she kind of gets her own design, which I think looks really fucking cool. Like it's unique enough that it's somewhere between the classic 616 Iron Man and Ultimate Iron Man suit, which I generally hated. But the mix it seems to work. At least it works for me. So we'll see. All right, let's talk some wild MCU speculation. There is a story that is circulating that the original writer for Secret Wars, I don't remember the guy's name, but he got a phone call. This is, according to him, he got a phone call from some Marvel executive, and they're like, "Are you interested in writing a novelization for Secret Wars?" It's like, what? And so when he was interviewed, they were like, "So sounds like they're making a Secret Wars movie," and he goes, "I didn't say that." And the interviewer was like, "I think you just did." So, we had talked about a number of weeks ago or months ago that Secret Wars was the movie that the Russo brothers said if they were going to come back and do any more movies under Marvel, that was the story they wanted to do. I think Secret Wars is happening. I think going back to the Scarlett Johansson conversation, I think a wonderful way for them to sweep it all under the rug is like bring back fucking everybody fighting everybody. You can bring her back. Like whatever, you do whatever you want. Make it a 2-parter. First part is the first part is like Secret Wars as we know it. The second part is like the Kang Wars or whatever. You're forced to fight everybody, and then out of that, everybody has to kind of take on Kang or whatever. Like I think that could be really interesting. But the rumor of Chris Evans coming back as Steve has been floating around for a while. Could they be waiting to have, Cap Prime and Black Captain America fighting alongside each other, right? Or fighting each other, right? Like you could do a lot of things where you could split the difference, right? You can have 2 Black Widows, right? Like you can have Yelena and ScarJo fighting each other. Like you could do all sorts of shit because you would have enough characters as you're building this new version of the Avengers. You've got the old Avengers, right? Like you could figure out how to do this on a cosmic level. I think it'd be kind of fun. By the way, you got 2 Thors too, right? You're getting ready to introduce, Jane as Thor and, Hemsworth as Thor. So it'd be kind of interesting.
Okay. With the multiverse happening, you could use this opportunity to kind of do what they did in the comics when they kind of like the Ultimate Universe was ending, right? Because the Ultimate line was ending. But you got so they cherry picked a couple of characters, Miles Morales being one of them.
Pretty much Miles, his family, and fuck the entire rest of that universe.
I mean, yeah.
Like they didn't give a shit about nobody else.
You didn't bring Ultimate Reed over, right? Like that's a bit of an issue, right?
No, the Maker is in the. I thought he made it over actually, which is
did he?
I think the Maker did, which is a fucking problem.
Well, yeah, that's something you gotta handle.
He's a fucking lunatic.
Maybe I could see them maybe doing something like that with this, right? Like if we have this what if universe,
mm-hmm.
and everybody loves Captain Carter, right? Like
this is what I'm saying.
All over the place, right?
The big woman. It's a big woman here.
Yeah, you can bring in some of those fan favorites, and you can, like, if you're bringing people into Battle World, right? Because if you're bringing people into Battle World and it's like, well, who is running Battle World? I don't know who it is. And then all of a sudden, maybe a Fantastic card just kind of comes out of nowhere. And he's like, I think I know who's doing it, right? And John Krasinski and Emily Blunt step out, and I'm like, I think I know who's running it. I think I know who's running it. I think I know who's running it.
I thought you were going to grab the Doom mask and put it on. Hold on a second. Yeah. Or not even, you could have the Beyonder running it or Kang running it, right?
Sure.
But what you would do is when the world fucking resets, put your boy in.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? He running shit.
And if they do, and what, everyone wants the X-Men to come in.
This is it.
What a way to go ahead and just kind of reset everything, right? Like you can just make up some mumbo jumbo bullshit about the events that have the events of what happened on Battle World and in the Secret Wars had tremendous ramifications. And now, 40% of the population has been infected with a mutation, and or you can use it to hit the fucking reset button if you really wanted to.
Yeah,
right.
This is the new way. Boom, done. Who gives a fuck? Right.
Yeah, man. Wow, that could be. All right, now if
I'm telling you, this is the move, right? Like, you get to do anything at this point, right? You rip the universe down, you ripped it in half, you put it back together. Everyone's like, this is gonna be a thing, this is gonna be a thing, this is gonna be a thing. But Secret Wars, like, is a legitimate reset of the button, like, or is hitting the reset button, like you said. If you look at the new Secret Wars, which I think is a better indication of where they would go than the original, right? I think it'd probably be a mixture, but I like the idea of you might get like a 3-parter, right? Like, you get your battle world, and it's like, holy shit, there's multiple Captain Americas and multiple Thors and like all of this, and you get all of that. Second movie is them inside this reset world, which is like super weird. There's multiple Thors, there's God Doom, like all sorts of like, what the fuck is happening? And the third movie is Reed and the Fantastic Four working as the lead, trying to fix everything, putting it all back together, fixing the world. You get your X-Men, you get all of that shit established. Going into the next phase, all of that shit is ready to go. Because Secret Wars is your Avengers movie, right?
Yeah. And then you can have fun with it. You can have like fun, like you can bring in just for like a one-off or something, right? Like you can bring in versions of characters like from what's that Neil Gaiman run where everyone was like
1602?
Yeah, you could just for fun. You know what I mean?
Why not?
Like you can have
although by the way, that would be a cool what if episode. Like if they haven't like mentioned that would be kind of fun to do.
Like depending on how much Sony wants to play ball, you can have like, or not even if Sony, you can do it with other characters. You can have 2099 versions of characters.
You could
just kind of pop in.
Dude, can you imagine fucking Spider-Man 2099 in live action? Oh my God. So amazing. I love that fucking costume. It is so fucking dope. To see Miguel O'Hara on live on screen would be fucking mind-blowing. I'm out. I'm done. I can't look at this. I can't. It's just too much. It's too much. That would be crazy. But there's also another side to this. So I hate to spoil this for all you Venom fans out there. One of the cinema chains ruined a surprise that J.K. Simmons is in fucking Carnage.
Oh, really?
Yeah. There you go. Right? Like, my guess is also with Secret Wars, this is how you bring in that part of the universe and make it fucking work. Right? Because you can say, do your thing, whatever. You fucking do all your stupid shit you want. Who gives a fuck? Who cares? It doesn't matter. Because when we do Secret Wars, boom, reset button, none of what you did matter. None of what you did matter. Right? Like, that's all, it's all on its own thing. Or they figure out a way to work with Sony to incorporate it all. Right? To just say, all right, cool, you did your own thing, you establish it, but once we hit the reset button, you can bring Venom in, but we got it. You got to let us take that. Like, that could be the way to make it work, where you could bring in Tom Hardy. You could bring in, because look, in the hands of the right people, Tom Hardy as Venom could work. Like, super work. Like, well, right? Fighting against Spider-Man. Woody Harrelson is a fucking stellar actor. Tom Hardy is a stellar actor. They're just in a terrible script, right? Like, you don't need Jared Leto, but like, fine, whatever. I guess he's there, right? But it's a way that you could incorporate them on some branch, right? Where you could connect Spider-Man then to them, and then he could go off and do his own adventures, right? Like, you could do it and make it work, or you can bring them in. So you've got a lot of options. But this is building. Like, there's a lot of things building, and I'm just starting to notice like this. There's a lot of talk and a lot of casting that keeps showing like dual versions of roles, right? Like the Captain America thing is kind of interesting, right? Like it's still a rumor about Evans, but that's 2 Captain Americas, right? That's 2 Captain Americas. That's technically 2 Falcons, right? Which is kind of interesting. You've got the What If series that's bringing in all those copies and like different versions of those characters. You've got 2 Thors coming up in the same movie. Like all of that's happening. You got the Eternals, which we're going to talk about the trailer and stuff like that. You got a lot of like wackadoodle cosmic shit that doesn't quite all make sense. But the one thing that does make sense is pulling them all off world and throwing them into this fight and then resetting it and making it do whatever it wants. Do whatever you want. Who cares? Like how extensive does the story for Eternals really have to be if you can use it as a stopgap to make something bigger and more interesting, right? Like, yeah, you're not stuck with, because their like main story is kind of boring. Like it hits a wall and you're like, who gives a shit? Especially they're like, we only fight deviants. Okay, like y'all kill them all? Yeah, we killed them all. All right, what y'all doing now? We're just gonna hang out. Like that's fucking lame. You got to give them something else to do. So, yeah, just wild speculation. I think Secret Wars is I think that's the next big Avengers movie. Or like let me rephrase that. I think Secret Wars is the Infinity War Endgame, like the saga ender. I think that's what it is. Yeah. So not necessarily the end for this phase. I don't think so.
Yeah, that's a pretty big gun to like that's a pretty big trigger to pull.
Yeah. And I don't know where you go after this, but look, I couldn't think of anything after Infinity Gauntlet. So they'll figure it out. Right.
But yeah, like just a big mashup of everything. Yeah, then you reset. Then you do it all over again.
Well, I guess
maybe not do it with like, I mean, but this would be a perfect opportunity to get like a new Captain America and a new, like, I don't know. There's so many ways you can go about it.
I think you're going to end up keeping principal actors, right? Like, I don't think they're going to toss like Mackie and stuff like that. I think they'll keep them, but I think what it'll do is it'll give them space to put them on the sidelines, right? Like, you don't need to have the Avengers as the main team. You hit the reset button, X-Men are your main team. Yeah. Right? Then with like the obvious build after that, actually, as I say this, is Avengers versus X-Men. That's the obvious build, right? Because you build that to the Phoenix 5 and you do that story, right? Like, that's a big enough story that should take a while. Like, if you do the Phoenix Force properly and don't rush the shit in 2 stories, in 2 movies, if you take the proper time to build it, you build the X-Men, the Friends of Humanity, like all of that shit. You figure out why the Avengers are like weirdly cool with them. They join up, they team up against villains. Then you start to build the fractures and stuff like that. And you slowly start to pull them apart. You introduce the Phoenix element. That takes a movie or 2 to really get fucking going. It goes to the Phoenix 5. Look, by all accounts, you have fucking Namor coming, right? Like, you got Namor, Cyclops. Yeah, you know, like you've got, I forget who else is in the Phoenix 5, but like, you've got all
Colossus, Magic, Cyclops, and I can't remember the other ones.
Right. So like you'll have all of them. So you could build the Phoenix 5 and then the Avengers like, yo, we gotta like, this is a terrible idea. We told you Hope was, you know, like not the fucking move. And now like we gotta fight. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's your third saga. And by then I'll be 65 years old. So like, whatever.
Yeah. Like we long gaming it, man. Like
yeah. I mean, we used to laugh. If you've been a long time listener, we used to laugh at like, yo, we gonna be 40 years old watching these movies. We're 40.
I'm 40 years old.
I'm 41 years old. This is fucking ridiculous. But I love it, man. I love it. That's awesome. My dog's gotta hurry up, man, so we can start watching these movies from the jump. Like, yo, we're like 20. I'm 20 movies in ahead of you. Like, you gotta hurry up.
Yeah, you gotta hurry up, man. Like, well, you know, that's what like Fantastic Four is, right? Like, yeah, that'll be your all right. You're old enough to go to a movie now. this is going to be your thing. And then I can introduce you to all this other cool shit.
Yeah.
And then she's going to be like, I don't like all that. I like the thing.
I'd be like, look, that's your history.
Right.
yelling at her like my dad. Come in here and watch a good Western. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? I'm 7. I hate this shit. It's boring. All right, let's jump into what the fuck brought to you by JTD.
I really don't want to talk about mine.
It's that good, huh?
The title of the article is "Nothing to See Here, Just City Rats Getting Bigger and Bigger." Scientists analyzed over 140,000 measurements from mammals over 80 years, and they found that the urban dwellers are significantly longer and fatter. Researchers at the Florida Museum of Natural History are expressing surprise at the result of a new study showing that urban mammal rats are growing. A quartet of scientists analyzed over 140,000 measurements, more than 100 North American rats. They calling them North American urban mammals. You know, they're rats.
They're rats. Yo, don't do that.
Right, like
they're rodents.
The city is technically a North American urban mammal. Like they're rats. Yo, they found that the urban dwellers are significantly longer and fatter than their non-urban cousins. That wasn't what we expected to find at all. Really? Said one of the co-authors. Animals in warmer climates tend to be smaller, a phenomenon known as Bergman's rule. The scientists had previously observed higher temperatures from climate change are likely shrinking animals. This paper is a good argument for why we can't assume Bergman's rule or climate alone is important to determining the size of the animals. Yeah, no, they're going to get fatter where the food is.
Yeah, no, that's obvious.
Like, I fucking hate rodents, man. I really do. Like, that was the one thing about Suicide Squad, the Suicide Squad, that made me queasy, was that rat catcher shit at the end.
The city belongs to them. Nuke the city.
Right. Like, you got that many rodents in that city? That many?
What you think lives in New York? What do you think lives in New York?
Yeah, New York is a problem.
Nah, there's definitely more rats in New York than people. And there's 8 million people in New York. I bet there's 10 to 20 rats per person in New York. You know what? I'm going to Google that. How many rats do they think? How many rats live in New York City? Thank you, Google. 2 million rats. No way it's that low. No way. According to this article, using statistical approaches to capture the number of rats, there are approximately 2 million rats in New York City. No, I don't believe that. No. Nah. No way.
2 million.
In 2014, however, scientists more accurately measured the entire city's rat population to be approximately only 24% of the number of humans. I don't believe them, dude.
Yeah, I was about to say.
No, it's no way, dude.
That's like 1 in 4, yo.
Nah,
like
yo.
For every household, there's a rat.
Nah, yo, I bet it's higher than that. Yo, rats breed like crazy. No, yo.
Yeah, as Martin Lawrence described in Bad Boys 2, they fuck like we do.
Or that fucking rat on Martin. Just like that stuffed animal. I was like, yeah, this is ridiculous. Yeah, no, I'm not buying it. No, there's a billion rats in New York. Don't go there. That's really disgusting. Nah, I'm not a fan. Not a fan of rats. My story is, look, this happens. I guess it happened in New York. Doesn't really matter. Oh no, it happened in Michigan. Doesn't really matter the location, actually. Just know that this article is written. This is from the New York Post. Okay, so
this is going to be a very interesting read.
I'm going to read it verbatim. Jack the Bean Block. Man gets 6 kidney beans stuck in his penis while trying to express himself. It's the New York Post, so it's full of puns. He was struggling to pee, P-E-A. A Randy, Michigan man redefined C block after he got 6 kidney beans lodged in his urethra during a bizarro attempt at sexual gratification. The unnamed 30-year-old patient had reportedly wanted to, quote, express the beans during ejaculation, according to a wince-worthy report published by the journal Urology Case Reports. So the sexual eccentric shoved 6 kidney beans in his urethra and attempted to expel them via natural emission. However, his pea shooter jammed during the process, prompting him to try to remove them with tweezers. When that failed, he reported to the hospital, where he informed doctors that he was struggling to pee, and they keep writing PEA in quotes.
All right.
No. Hold. Not quite done. The backed up beanstalker also admitted it wasn't his first time participating in the practice, although he never attempted to utilize this many beans. The subsequent CT scan confirmed the poor soul harbored 6 beans in his urethra, which measured 15 millimeters by 7 millimeters, 4 which located between the urethra entrance and the urine pouch, while another strayed all the way into his bladder. Yikes!
Nah, yo. I believe we've said this on the show before. If not, I will gladly say it again. I hope I never get so bored with sex that I got to do shit like this to get off.
It is impossible for me to ever be so bored with sex or just good old fashioned masturbation.
Yeah.
Taking my hat in hand. Okay. That I want to shove anything in my urethra. Christmas light, a sounding stick, kidney beans. Kidney beans? Kidney beans?
Jesus Christ.
Oh, kidney bean is big. Also, was it a hard kidney bean or like a canned kidney? It had to be like a hard one, right?
Probably. I mean, like you want to feel it come out, right?
Right, like because you can't put a mushy kidney bean in your urethra. Right. But like, how did you get the bean in your urethra to begin with?
Probably just fucking shoved it up in there.
Oh my God. Like when it got stuck, dude, you should have just pulled out a gun and blew your brains. Like at that point, just like, I don't know, just like keep pushing, push back the way you came.
Yeah, like just knead it out. You know what I mean?
Oh shit. That's horrible. That's horrible.
You gotta do something.
Yeah, I'm not leaving it in there. No, just take your, like, look, if you can't knead it out, as Micah says, which is a terrible but yet accurate description, just bang it up against something, I guess. See if you can break the bean up. I don't know. I've never had a bean stuck up there, so I don't really have solid advice. It's like a mallet. Wow.
Oh my God.
Now, stop putting things in your urethra, guys. Like that's, it's like I can't express enough to put your garbage in a garbage can. I can't express enough. Yeah, do not put beans in your urethra or anything. All right. That's it for that section. Let's go right into trailers. Let's talk about Star Wars Visions. I, as people know, am not a fan of the. I don't respect animation as a form of storytelling. So I will kick it to Micah. What are your thoughts on this?
I think this looks amazing. This is an anthology of Star Wars stories, shown in an anime style from several different anime styles. It's the Animatrix, but for Star Wars. Yeah,
but looks much better.
I think the Animatrix looked fine. I had no problem with the Animatrix.
It was okay.
And I'm very excited for this. It's got 9 stories from a bunch of different animation houses. And, some of them I appreciate the style a little more than others, but they all look good. And Star Wars really lends itself to, well, Star Wars obviously lends itself to a lot of Japanese culture.
Really?
So this is,
yeah, that's the elephant in the room here.
right. So this is my only thing is I am surprised that this hasn't happened much sooner. But I'm glad it's happening. It looks amazing.
Yeah. Look, I mean, all jokes aside about me not liking animation, this looks fucking dope, man. Like, this shit looks really good. And I like that it's so inventive. Like, you get to see some, like, really cool weaponry that you wouldn't see otherwise. Like, I don't know. Like, I get, you get, like, some Cowboy Bebop feel to some of this, some, Afro Samurai in other places. Like, it's, I don't know, even some, like, I guess, like, what is it, Samurai Champloo and stuff like that. And some other things I'm sure I don't know. But yeah, this looks really fucking fun.
I mean, seeing that Ronin pull out the lightsaber like a traditional sword.
Yeah,
like,
dude.
Come on, man. Like, that's fucking dope, yo. Like, I can't wait to watch it. I might watch that one last because I want it to be the last thing that I think about when I turn this thing off. Yeah. Like, it looks like all of these things look awesome.
They do. They look like a lot of fun.
And I'm very much looking forward to checking these out. I hope this does well. I hope that this becomes a thing. You know what I mean? I hope this isn't just a 9 and done.
Oh, you want multiple seasons of this?
Yeah, I want multiple seasons of this stuff. Maybe not necessarily with, continuing stories, but I like the idea of anime anthologies. So I get a little bit of everything, right?
Yeah.
It's or anthologies in general, like Love, Death, and Robots, stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's I think it can lend to some really creative storytelling. Obviously, from a Japanese perspective. But that might also lend to some interesting things you might see in future Star Wars movies, right? Like some ideas that are presented here. And they're like, oh shit, we never thought about that. Like a dude pulling the lightsaber out like a traditional, like katana. Like it's creative because you don't ever see that type of shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I always thought it's kind of crazy that no one fights with a lightsaber in the most obvious way, which is turning it on and off. Like, you know what I mean? Like if you're like going after each other, right, you just turn the shit off and it's like elbow the guy or like move out of the way and then turn it on, cut his head off. Like there's some cooler shit we can do besides like, all right, let's both pull out our broadswords and fucking hit each other, like, right. So yeah, maybe they will come up with that. Like there's a moment in the trailer where you see a guy pull out what looks like almost like an umbrella, but it's like spinning on the end and it's got lightsaber blades on it. Like it's not anything you ever seen in the movies. Like that's dope.
You can do anything like they have bladed nunchucks, right? Like why not have a league of fucking Shadow Sith or some shit who fight with fucking nunchucks that just have short blades on them?
Yeah,
like,
I mean,
I don't know.
I mean, it's anime, so you can do it. Practically, that's the dumbest weapon of all time.
Well, look, I mean, no one's saying that Michelangelo was the fighter of the group, right? Like the nunchucks were like gardening tools. Like nobody, and then somebody figured out that you can just like hit somebody with them.
Wait, were they really? Is that what it was?
Yeah, they were gardening tools. Like you put a like a scythe on the end of them and you swing them around. They were gardening.
Oh, I see. I mean, that's kind of how like a lot of things happen, right? Like weapons get invented.
What a fork is, right? Like
a giant gardening tool, shrunk down. All right, let's talk about the final trailer, which I was surprised to hear that. The final trailer for Eternals. Look, I think this looks great. We get to see more of the Eternals actually fighting. We actually get to see them fighting. We see the Celestials, which is interesting. Yeah, overall, I thought this was really, very cool. They're still not giving away a lot, which I think is very much on purpose.
They gave away the one question. They answered the one question that everyone, that every pedantic asshole has, right? Well, why weren't you there when Thanos was attacking? And
because that movie didn't exist, dude.
Right, because we couldn't. That's why, because we couldn't. And that's that's all the explanation I need, right? The explanation they give in this is all the explanation I need. Quite frankly, I don't even need an explanation.
No, like, I'm not an idiot.
I'm not some asshole, right?
Right.
Like, I got them now. They won't think of a reason why they weren't there. Okay. No, this looks good. I'm glad that this is the final trailer, so I don't have to worry about scouring over any more. I'm glad that you got to see some superheroics in this trailer, so people won't be like, "Oh, this looks." I still see comments of people like, "Oh, I've trusted Marvel all this time, but I don't know. I don't know about this one." Yeah, dude. This is the one. Come on, from the Academy Award-winning director. This is the one that's gonna fail.
Okay.
Yeah. Whatever, yo.
People are like, do you guys get a hard on for saying the same dumb shit every 2 years? Like, I don't get it. Oh, I don't know, man. Like, people are, I was a little leery about, whether, Shang-Chi and the Legend of Ten Rings was going to be good. Cause like reports came, they're like, yeah, it's really good. And they're like, oh, I was worried. Why? What are you worried about? What are you worried about? Just go watch the damn movie.
At this point, I'm more worried about like my wallet. Like
is it going to be okay?
Is it going to cost and where I'm going to see it? That's what I'm worried about.
Right. Like it'll be fine. It'll be fine. Like I only like when it comes, and I wouldn't even call it worrying. My interest is always like, I want to see what it looks like that first time. Right. Like, all right, you're doing Shang-Chi. Like, what is that? What does the martial arts look like? What, like, what's that feel? Then I see the trailer. I'm like, all right, you got it. That nailed it for me. But I'm never like, I'm not scared. How much goodwill do they have to build up, for God's sake?
Well, I think people just want to be right. Right. Like,
they're dying to be right.
We like watching people fall, and we like watching people rise. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, if those DC movies were good, like, you wouldn't hear people defend them as vehemently as they do.
Yeah, they'd be like, cool, whatever.
Right. And, with this, people are like, because it's something new, because it's something that people really don't know about, right? Like, unless you're like a hardcore comic person, like the average person doesn't know anything about this. And even if they do, half of those people are like, well, I don't know. Like, nah, yo, nah, right. They're going to do it. And it's probably going to be good. At this point, I think they know what they're doing.
Yeah, I think they got it figured out. Like, if anything, what you should be, talking about more is like, where does this fit into the universe? Like, what are they going to be doing? Not so much, is this movie going to be competently done? Like, no, they got it, guys. Like, and again, this is not being done by some like bullshit director. Like, it's not.
Right.
But I think it's one of the most beautiful movies they've done so far. Like, it's certainly rather interesting looking. The one thing two things I just noticed, seeing how the, I forget the character's name, the one who's deaf, who, is a speedster, or like basically a speedster, seeing how what is it?
Macari. It's a play on Mercury.
Right. How she moves through time. I don't know if you noticed that. Like, she jumps forward in the screen and they move time around her, which is really fascinating. It's easy to miss. It's at like 2:15 in the trailer. You see her kind of jumping towards the screen, which is kind of interesting. The one thing that I wanted to bring up, because I haven't seen a lot of people talk about this, is Kit Harington's Black Knight is in this trailer, right? This is the first time we're seeing Kit Harington here. But he's not being shown doing anything. He's just kind of talking. I think they're going to keep, I'm very interested how they play him, because they're keeping him tight to the vest, right? Not showing him as a hero, not showing him with a sword, not with the helmet on, nothing. Just like, he's just some guy. But he's not just some guy. He's a fucking big deal. So, or a moderate deal. So it will be interesting, that what is their reason for keeping him completely underrated? If this is the final trailer to not show this major actor, doing anything, they must have something pretty big, in store for him, which is kind of dope. Knowing that going in. So, yeah, I'm down for it, man. I look forward to being surprised by all the stuff that they pull off in this.
Yeah, I'm not worried. I'm incredibly worried, as if they need me to worry for them.
Right.
I am not, since the first Guardians have I been curious about a Marvel movie. And part of it is because I don't know too much about it. Like I read one run and it was entertaining enough.
Right.
I enjoyed it. But I'm incredibly curious because I don't know enough. And, you know, if I'm being honest, nor do I care to find out.
Right.
You know, I'm not some big Shang-Chi super fan, but I kind of get what that movie is.
Yeah, of course.
With this, I'm looking forward to being surprised.
Yeah. As am I. Can't wait. Like, show me something I haven't seen before, as you say, right? Like,
yep. And that's all I'm looking for, man. That's all I'm looking for. The one major knock, is that Kit Harington at? Yeah,
he's in the trailer
at 104 on the horse. 103.
I don't know. My guess is that's probably an ancestor of his, because he's not like an immortal or whatever. Although maybe he is. I don't know. Who knows? Like, you know, they kind of play around with the characters. But like, as far as I know, like the sword gets passed down like through his, you know, some lineage or whatever. I don't know. I don't know a lot about the Black Knight.
Cam is flipping out right now.
Yeah, that's fine. Sorry, dude. I was touching boobs when you were reading a Black Knight comic.
Yeah, man. Like the one knock the one criticism for these Marvel movies that I will take from people seriously is that they all kind of follow the same beats and maybe look the same. Now, I would argue that they quote unquote look the same because they all take place in the same
They have
universe,
to. They have to.
Like we all generally look and feel the same because
as we're in the same universe,
exist in the same universe.
Right.
So I understand it, but I don't. I think that's a weak argument. But if you're saying that they all look and feel the same, and that, you know, there was a run, a very long run of superhero movies where at the end there was a blue beam that went up in the sky. And like, it's happened so much. It's a trope. It's a joke. It's, you know, and then they started to get away from that stuff. Like, I don't want to see stuff like the blue beam in the sky.
Right.
Right. Like I just show me something different. The fact that just that half a second of Macari running, giving me that different sense of speed is something that I don't that I don't recall seeing often. Right. I've seen that type of like speed ramping before, like that frenetic, like editing. I think it's a really good way to show speed. It's not the same old, I'm moving at normal speed, but speed from the speedster's perspective,
which is
right?
boring.
It's not that, which is boring, right?
Oh, you mean like that clip I sent you? From CW?
And it's not speed from the non-speedster's perspective of just a blur, right?
Right.
Like that feels like it's a little bit of both. And so yeah, I'm looking forward to this, man.
Yeah.
I am.
Yeah, I think it's cool. And again, it definitely feels the most artsy of the MCU. But that may not necessarily be a bad thing to kind of shake things up a little bit. So
yeah.
All right, I think that is it for us this week. We'll see you guys next week for another episode.
See ya.